The single biggest mistake I see women making with their health has nothing to do with carbs or fat. It's a massive underestimation of one macronutrient that controls your metabolism, your hunger, and your strength. I'm talking about protein, and chances are you're not getting nearly enough. Welcome back to Living Leré. For decades, women have been taught to eat less, but the real secret to faster metabolism, stable energy, and maintaining lean muscle mass as we age is actually eating more of the right thing. We are going to be demystifying protein for good.
It is common sense to think that protein is meat and that's how we get protein, especially in our current diet culture. I would say it's very meat heavy. We've got the carnivore diet, so a lot of push on meat, but there's so many different ways to get protein, and the protein that actually builds our gut up and doesn't tear it down. Protein, the meat protein, is the hardest food to digest of any other food group. So it's very hard on digestion. It takes a long time, and it's not actually feeding the gut flora that we want, the microbes in our gut that we really want to flourish. So it's great to rotate out different kinds of protein. There's lots of vitamins in animal meat, but there is really good stuff in the plant protein as well.
Sometimes life is busy, sometimes we travel, and then we don't always have access to the protein, and we don't always get enough of the protein that we need to be eating. And so I would encourage you to then maybe do your research and invest in a good plant-based protein powder. And again, there are many on the market, but I must tell you, I have my favorite. My favorite of all favorite protein powders. And I love this because it's a plant-based protein powder. And I love it because it's made with non-GMO peas. So please read your labels if you are making a purchase. So I love it because of a few reasons. It's very high quality. It's very easy digested. It's very kind to the digestive system. It's low in carbs. It's low in sugar, which means it helps maintain a healthy blood sugar. It digests in 4 hours, whether you're a meat lover, plant-based, or somewhere in between. This isn't about dieting. It's about building a stronger you from the inside out.
A lot of people think, well, it's too expensive to eat healthy. I'm like, the meat is really what's expensive. And so there's ways to not always have meat at your meals and to save a lot of money, which is why I love Leré's meatball recipe, because the whole family loves it, and it's so cheap because it's frozen cauliflower and quinoa, and we're getting a lot of protein in that meal and saving a lot of money on not having to buy ground beef or ground chicken. So there's tons of ways. Our nuts and our seeds, which we put in our smoothies or on top of yogurt, a lot of ways to add in protein that doesn't have to be meat, and it does save your budget as well.
So let's get into it. It's important as we age to make sure we are getting sufficient protein. Otherwise, our muscles start wasting away and deteriorating. We eat a lot of animal protein, and in my opinion, we do not eat enough of the plant-based proteins from nature's pantry. It's important for us to incorporate more of those plant-based proteins. Your chickpeas, your beans and legumes, your tempeh, your tofu, or any other alternative meat things. So back to the meatballs. These are a wonderful, wonderful meal. So you can serve it as a meal, and you can serve it with the meatballs and a tzatziki sauce, a nice little everyday salad, and then some oven roasted potato wedges. And there you have the most delicious, delicious meal. Or it's great for children's lunch boxes. My children used to love taking these little meatballs for their lunch boxes with hummus, tzatziki, or whatever other dip you want to put in there. This is just such a nice finger food as well to put on a charcuterie board with all your different dips. So let's get to it. To my ground beef, I am going to be adding some gluten-free sprouted oatmeal. If you don't want to use the oatmeal, my original recipe says gluten-free breadcrumbs. You can do that. Then I'm adding a beaten egg. Now, for those of you who are allergic to eggs, or if you are in a part of the world where there's an egg shortage, you can actually make a flax egg. And all you do is you take a tablespoon of ground flax meal with 2.5 tablespoons of water, mix it, leave it for 5 minutes, it swells up, and that is a wonderful alternative to a regular egg. Okay, then I'm going to add my onion to that. I'm going to add some tomato paste, some fresh parsley, and then I want to show you how you can take this in several different directions. If you want to do it the Italian way, you can add some Italian herbs. If you want to do it a Thai way, you can put some Thai red curry paste or some lemongrass in with the parsley. But in this case, I'm doing like a Mediterranean sort of vibe. I'm going to add ground cumin and some toasted, crushed coriander seeds. I'm going to add just a little bit of ground black pepper and a little bit of sea salt. Or you can add my favorite of favorites. And then about 2 tablespoons of coconut aminos. I love coconut aminos. It's a good alternative to all the soy sauces. It is a lot lower in sodium, plus it's a fermented product. And if you remember in one of my previous episodes, I spoke about how important it is to eat fermented foods. So there you go. So, as always, please excuse my hands, but this is me, this is Leré, and this is how I do it. Let's take this off, and because you really want to get it mixed through. So just fold it over. And we just want to combine everything. I could have used a bigger bowl, but it's okay. It's not a train smash, as I always like to say. So now it's time to roll these meatballs and get them into the oven, under the broiler, or as we say, under the grill. In South Africa, that's what we say, under the grill. Okay, so I'm going to just, I love to use the olive oil spray. It's got no aerosol nonsense in there. It's just olive oil. But mine is finished, so we'll just use a little bit of olive oil here. And then what I'll do is just spread it out like this. Okay? And then we are going to get rolling. And you can see how lovely this comes together. You don't need any flour. So this is a lovely gluten-free alternative for anyone that is gluten-free or sensitive to gluten. And if you have a sensitivity to oatmeal, you can order quinoa flakes, and quinoa flakes work just as well. Quinoa is an ancient grain. I also want to mention that quinoa is actually very high in protein, so it's also a wonderful, wonderful addition to your plant-based protein. And I want to encourage you, you know, all of us, we eat a lot of meat. So why not once a week take time to try and make a plant-based protein meal? Okay, let's roll one more. Like that. And then all I'm going to do is just this one that I'm just going to dab the top like that. Okay. And that we're going to pop under the grill or under the broiler. It's not going to take long. We're going to broil it. It usually takes probably about 4 to 5 minutes on the one side and maybe 4 or 5 minutes on the other. But just gauge it. You don't want to overcook it. And yeah, let's pop it into the oven.
Remember to hit like, subscribe, and tap the bell.
Another wonderful summer recipe is the tzatziki. Oh my gosh, I grow over 300 cucumbers every summer. It is one of my favorite vegetables to grow, and I love to use whatever is coming from my garden. So right here, I have some cucumber that I finely diced, and after I chop them up, I just double lined a paper towel, or you can use cheesecloth, and I just squeezed all of the water out. So you have a nice dry cucumber. Otherwise, you're going to have a very watery tzatziki. So we're going to add that to the bowl. Then I'm going to add a little bit of organic lemon zest, a little bit of lemon juice. Of course, no tzatziki is complete without garlic. Oh my gosh, so good for us, so good for the gut, so good for the immune system. Then I'm going to add a tablespoon each of fresh mint from our garden and dill. I'm just going to give that a little bit of a whirl. And then you can use whatever plain Greek yogurt that you like. I like to use a Greek yogurt because it has a lot of protein. So just bearing in mind, this is a good source of protein, but also to help regulate the blood sugar. Or you can use a plant-based Greek yogurt like a coconut, plain unsweetened coconut, whatever you want, macadamia nut, cashew, whatever you want. So we're going to mix that in. Okay. And all we're going to do is just mix it up. To that, we're going to add a little bit of, probably about a teaspoon of herbal salt. Again, a few cracks of black pepper. And just look at that. Oh my gosh. I wish you could smell what I'm smelling. And there you have the most delicious, thick tzatziki sauce full of all the aromatics and of course fresh lemon and amazing. I hope you give it a try. Oh, so good. All right, they've been in the oven for about 5 minutes, so we're just going to flip them or turn them over. And everyone's ovens are different, so please, please, you know your oven, you know how fast or slow your broiler or your grill is. So some people it's 5 minutes, other people it's 3 to 4 minutes. So just eyeball it, okay? So let's pop it back for the remainder of the cooking time. Our meatballs are ready. Now I'm going to just plate them in a little bit of a different way, okay? You can do it as you want, but I am just going to do something different today. All right, so we are going to plate or dish up the tzatziki and sort of just spread it like this. Okay, there you go. And then I'm just going to sort of add the meatballs like that. Ooh. That's like this, like that, and like that. Okay, and then we can serve it with some tomatoes on the side. And of course, last but not least, we need some green, because you all know green makes everything better, okay? And over here, we can serve it with a little bit of dill or some parsley or some cilantro, or you can put some crackers or whatever you want to do. And let's just pinch a little bit of this and just put a little blob in the middle. And there you go. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I'm going to try and hold it up without messing. So there you go. The most delicious tzatziki sauce topped with Mediterranean meatballs, all made from scratch, organic, grass-fed, with some tomatoes, an extra garnishing, perfect for lunch boxes or to enjoy with friends around the table on a hot summer's day. I hope you give it a try. Use my recipes as a foundation and have fun with food. Add the color, add the textures, add all the flavors, enjoy the flavors, and make life worth living. Have fun with it, because that is what Living Leré is all about.